Day 8, Skellig Michael. Oh, it's cold here, and windy. The rain is going sideways. It's really high up and isolated. This place is a bit scary. It appeared they were on an island, surrounded by a big ocean with crashing waves and angry winds. The Wolfhound cocked his head. "I wonder," he said. But before the kids could ask any more questions, he ushered them into some small, round stone huts. "Let's start a fire and get warm," said the Wolfhound. "Then we can look around." While Susan and Jane started the fire, Robert and James began preparing the food. "Get your map out," said the Wolfhound, once they were all warm and sated. "Do you know where we are?" asked James. The Wolfhound replied with a toothy smile. "We are on Skellig Michael, in the southwestmost part of Ireland." "Our hexagon basalt rocks here?" asked Jane. "This island is made of red sandstone and compressed slate," answered the Wolfhound. "No basalt here." Once the rain let up, they left the warmth of the hut and started exploring. Suddenly the Wolfhound barked, "Be careful!" James slipped on the wet ground and fell 10 feet to a ledge below. "Look," said James, trying to cover up his scare. "Another island." "Yes, that is Little Skellig," replied the Wolfhound. "Let's get you back up on the and stay close to the middle of this island. It is not safe to be on the edges." "But how?" The Wolfhound kept running back and forth. He began to bark. The girls looked about frantically, trying to find something to help James. Robert was calm. He hooked his feet on some rocks and leaned down toward James. "Grab my hand." "It's too far." Robert looked round. "See those rocks? If you can climb on those, I can reach you." Robert was able to pull James to safety. James nodded at Robert in thanks. They explored the interior of the island the rest of the day, being extra careful of their footing. "This is amazing," stated Susan. "This is Christ's Saddle," said the Wolfhound. "The monks named it when they lived here." "Is that why there are little houses here?" asked Jane. "Yes, the monks lived here in isolation and simplicity, so they could pray and meditate in peace. They arrived sometime between the 6th and 8th century and left in the 13th century, moving to a mainland monastery." "It is magical here," said Robert in hushed tones. All agreed. As they explored the island carefully, they saw seals and... "Hey, look! Look down by the water. What are those funny clown birds?" asked Robert. "Those are puffins," said the Wolfhound. "They live here part of the year to raise their young, and then much of the year they live out at sea on the Atlantic Ocean. There are many birds that raise their young here on Skellig Michael." That night, exhaustion set in from exploring the island. Susan and James started making dinner over a campfire. As James sat down, he gave a groan. "What's wrong?" said Jane. "I hurt all over." The Wolfhound sniffed him. "You smell of blood." Sure enough, James had scrapes and cuts all over from the fall earlier in the day. "We don't have anything to help him with," Susan stated with scared eyes. "We are nowhere near a doctor and our parents are not here." A tear welled up in Susan's eye. The Wolfhound looked at Susan and waited. "What? Why are you looking at me like that?" The Wolfhound continued to look at Susan, cocking his head to the side. Jane and Robert came over to see what was happening. "I can't seem to move," whispered James. "I hurt and all my muscles are stiff." "Why now and not earlier?" asked Jane. "Well, muscles get stiff when not used, and excitement can cover up pain," explained the Wolfhound. James was silent, a grimace on his face and eyes closed. Jane nudged Susan. "What about those flowers?" "What?" Susan looked at the Wolfhound, who pushed his journal towards her with his nose. "Oh my goodness, yes! Those flowers help with cuts and pain. What do we do?" The Wolfhound looked at the children. "Boil some water and put the dried meadow sweet flowers in the water. I will make a tea to ease his pain. In the meantime, Jane, do you have that bouquet of calendula flowers?" "Yes," said Jane. She ran to get them from her pack. They're all dried now, though. They will work just fine, replied the wolfhound. As he showed Susan what to do, Jane boiled the water from the meadowsweet tea. Robert continued to cook dinner. Once the remedies were ready, James was slathered with calendula on his cuts and drank the tea to relieve the pain. Dinner was quiet and peaceful. James was starting to move around better. There was nothing to review from their list. They each received peace and hope. There was something magical about the island. They knew everything would be all right, and they would make it home again.